covering all your local high school football games with highlights and scores. Now, Football Friday, brought to you by Alabama Credit Union.
And hello again, everybody. I'm Gary Harris, and welcome into Week 2 of the high school football season. Of course, Week 3 of WVUA 23's Football Friday, presented by Alabama Credit Union. Remember, visit alabamacu.com to learn more. Alabama Credit Union, loans for real life. Now, the reason that it's working out like this is a reminder that the first week of high school action is actually Week 0. So the first week of Football Friday was on Week 0 of the football season, so that's why we have this third week of the show, the second week of the season. There's 11 weeks. They play 10 games over 11 weeks. Well, our show is 1 hour again this year, and we have highlights tonight from 15 high school football games for you, plus our complete Football Friday high school scoreboard, our Football Friday Band of the Week, our premier service company Outside the Huddle feature, recruiting tales with Andrew Bone, behind enemy lines, a one-on-one interview with Jihad Campbell, and much more. And we begin, as we do most every week, with our Game of the Week.
Now, the Football Friday Game of the Week.
Let's go down Highway 69 South to Hillcrest for the Class 7A Region 3 opener. Hoover in town to take on the Patriots and the Bucks. You know, when you move up to 7A, you got to be ready to go. Mac Beeson, 5-yard touchdown run. And then Hillcrest looks to respond. Kristen Ritchie, 38 yards, down to the 2. He almost scores here. And I guarantee you Hillcrest wished that he did, because the Patriots had to settle for a 20-yard Hudson Hall field goal. And that would be the theme in the first half. You got to get 6 when you're down there. The Bucks in the second quarter score again. Ja'Cory Hayes, 5-yard touchdown run, made it 14-6. That was the score at halftime, as Hillcrest had to kick another field goal when they got down deep. And then in the third quarter, first possession for Hoover and Jonah Winston. See you later. 35-yard touchdown run for the Bucks. And Hillcrest has got a fine football team, but tonight in 7A, they move up from 6A, and they get a dose of 7A reality tonight. The Bucks coming off a loss to rival Spain Park, obviously not in a good mood. And Hillcrest, after dominating Class 6A Region 4 the last 3 years, fall hard tonight in Class 7A Region 3, their opener, to the Hoover Bucks. 35-6 the final. Hoover takes the Patriots down. More on that game coming up later with Joe Gaither from Bama Central. We'll have analysis of Hoover and Hillcrest and what went down on Highway 69 South. All right, Class 6A Region 4 opener for Paul Bryant at Central. Remember, these two coaches, DeMario Pippin of Central, Kristen Jones of Bryant, are really good friends. Jones was on that staff last year. Here comes Armani White handing it off to Xavion Cade. Central up 7-0. Stampede on offense now. Javion Johnson is picked, though, by Braylon Smith. And it's not just a pick. It is a pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the end zone. Falcons led 14-0. Stampede get something going here. Javion Johnson, not anything in the pass game, so he pulls it down, shows his athletic ability. He gets it into the end zone, and you're thinking we might have a touchdown, but way too much Central tonight here in Tuscaloosa. James Freeman just turns on the juice, man. Gets those shoulders square. He takes it into the end zone. Falcons led 34-7 at half. And it's all Central tonight in this battle of Tuscaloosa rivals, as the Falcons take it over the Stampede 54-13. Central 3-0 on the season, 1-0 in the region. Paul Bryant in Kristen Jones' first year. Remember, he took this job over literally just a couple weeks before the season started. Came over from Central. So it's a tough situation. The Stampede falls to 0-3 as Central big tonight over Bryant, 54-13. More 6A Region 4 openers. Northridge traveling over to McCalla to take on McAdory on a rainy evening. Scoreless in the first quarter. Rowdy Christensen in the pocket trying to buy some time, and he's got to get rid of the football, or either get it down or hold on to it or do something. He gets knocked out by James Kitt, and the Yellow Jackets fall on it in the red zone. And they get the ball in their second play. Michael Barnes follows his blocks in from 3 yards out. Standing up, McAdory went for 2 and made it to lead 8-0. Second quarter, and the Jags going to the air. The vertical game over the top, but Brandon Hurd picks off Christensen in the end zone, and the Yellow Jackets get the ball back, and they wind it all the way down to 2 minutes left to go in the half. And on 3rd and goal from the 3, it's Barnes again, his second score of the night. 14-0 Yellow Jackets at the half, and McAdory goes on to win it this evening over Northridge, big, 34-7 in the Class 6A Region 4 opener for both those teams. Northridge, though, on the road tonight, and they fall hard over there in McCalla. Class 6A Region 4, as we stay in that region, Brookwood at Bessemer City. Bessemer City already up 23-0 at halftime, and the Purple Tigers then on the opening kickoff are going to extend it. Teldrin Turner gets right and gets a convoy, and I don't know that he was ever really touched here. Somebody got maybe a hand on his ankle. 68-yard touchdown return, 30-0 Bessemer City. Panthers trying to get something going, but Alden Gregory is sacked and stripped. Jeremiah Atkins with the play. The ball bounces into the hands of Kamari Harris, and he gone. Scoop and score. And this was just a tough night for Brookwood. Here's time to really put it away. Antoine Stanton. I don't know if he's going to have dinner, but he does have reservations for 6. 74 yards. The blowout was on. The Purple Tigers win it big tonight over Brookwood as we check out the final. 57-6. Bessemer City takes down Brookwood as the Panthers fall to 0-3 and 0-1 in the region. All right, Class 7A, back to 7A Region 3. Opener for Tuscaloosa County High and Thompson up in Northport. Clouds got out of there, and it was a beautiful night for football. The Warriors strike first here. Michael DeJean caps off a drive to start the game with a 6-yard touchdown run, 7-0. Next time Thompson has the ball, it's DeJean again. He's back at it, and this time it's a lot longer than 6. The spin move, I know it's easier said than done, but you got to wrap a guy like that up, man. You cannot arm tackle that guy, because if you try it, number 5 is going to take it to the house. 85 yards, 14-0. Still in the first quarter, Thompson looking for more, but Tuscaloosa County's Sawyer Summerlin, it takes a thief. He gets the pick off Trent Seaborn, stopping the Warriors down in the red zone. Early second quarter, following another TCH turnover. It is going to be a TCH forced turnover. It's C.J. Jackson getting it into the end zone. It's 14-7. Wildcats are in this thing. County High hanging around until Thompson's Trent McCorvey punches the ball away from C.J. Jackson. Warriors recover the fumble. And when you turn it over against a quality opponent, more times than not, you're going to pay. And that sets up R.J. Evans, right side, 11 yards, touchdown. Evans finishes with 3 rushing touchdowns. DeJean scores 2, and this one is all Thompson tonight up in Northport. 47-7 the final. So County High falls to 0-3 overall, 0-1 in the region. Thompson improves to 2-1 overall, 1-0 in region play. Big 2A Region 5 opener. Tuscaloosa Academy has been a juggernaut so far this season, hosting the Aliceville Yellow Jackets, and the game started fast for the Knights when Preston Lancaster, who is a candidate for Mr. Football, in my opinion, in the state, connects with Kenya Rego, who is going to be he's already a heck of a player, but he has transferred in from Thompson and making a lot of noise. That's a 10-yard touchdown. Aliceville was working on trying to come back, but Mills Turnip Seed had other ideas. He gets the pick, turns on the juice, and takes it back to the 10. There was a penalty on the play, but that only slowed down TA for a little bit. McClip holds something there on the return. Caleb Colgrove on the other end of this Lancaster pass. I don't know who was supposed to be covering him or what defense they were in, but they didn't do much covering right there. The Knights went into halftime up 34-0. They remain dominant all the way, and TA is looking like a state championship contender in 2A. They won it big tonight, 51-6 over what has looked like a pretty good Aliceville football team. So the Knights are strong. Well, that's already a lot of high school football in the books, but believe me when I tell you we still have a lot more to go. Greene County traveled to Lamar County tonight, but first the Holt Ironmen were looking to start 3-0 on the season for the first time since 1989. Holt played host to unbeaten Oak Grove, and we got the highlights when we return to WVUA 23's Football Friday, presented by Alabama Credit Union.
We're the Northridge Jaguar cheerleaders.
We love Football Friday on WVUA 23.
And the Northridge cheerleaders welcome us back into Football Friday on WVUA 23, presented by Alabama Credit Union. I'm Gary Harris. Love those cheerleaders and appreciate Pool and Patio Center for sponsoring them each week. Well, Gordo, I think it's pretty much safe to say Gus Smith's team is on a mission to win a Class 3A state championship this season. They're tired of being close. Last week, the Green Wave won a 36-35 overtime thriller over Class 4A power Bibb County. And tonight, Gordo played host to Hanceville in the 3A Region 5 opener. And quarterback for Gordo and company here, we're going to get this one going early and often, as they did not play around. This is C.J. Lark from Hudson Ward. Boy, C.J. Lark is a football player, man. He's into the end zone. You saw him catch the pass. Well, Hanceville's going to have to punt, and that's not a good idea. I don't know what they're trying to do. They're trying to bounce it. I guess he doesn't get his hands on it. But he does, and you see the result, man. That's a touchdown. Hanceville quarterback Hunter Black with a play there, but it's the second punt return of the game for Lark. And, you know, sometimes you just see a great player take over a game and dominate, and that's what's happening tonight up in Gordo. Now, that's another touchdown, and then Kellen Shirley breaking up the pass, keeping Drake Bentley from a chance to catch it. All Gordo tonight as we check out the final. The Green Wave roll over Hanceville, 54-3 to go to 1-0 in the region and 3-0 on the season, and looking, as I said, every bit the part of a state championship contender. Class 4A Region 4, West Blocton and American Christian Academy. Two good football teams. ACA 0-2, but they lost a couple tough games to two good teams, TA and Northridge, and West Blocton's good as well. Look at that lick right there. They were hitting out there tonight. Here goes West Blocton's Nicholas Kelly. Had that return to start it, and then it's West Blocton driving. Caden Fancher with a first down. A couple plays later, Fancher is stripped of the football. It comes out, and ACA's got it. This was a heck of a football game tonight. And then Evan Pearson is going to take a shot. I mean, bingo. They played some football tonight, back and forth. Nathan Barron then for West Blocton gets the edge and gets down to about the 3-yard line. And the West Blocton sideline like that. That led to some points, but ACA having a hard time getting some offense going. This one goes down to the wire. Let's check out the final. Kind of, you know, back and forth game, but ACA pulls it out over West Blocton. 25-21 was the final score tonight. Patriots get their first win, and it's a big one because it is a region game. So even though they were 0-2, they're now 1-0 in the region. 4A Region 4, two 2-0 teams. Oak Grove at Holt tonight. The Ironmen looking to open 3-0 in a season for the first time since 1989. Very physical matchup on this one. Defense stiff early. Oak Grove comes up with a stop on 4th down to get the ball back from Holt. The Ironmen went for it. And then on offense, Oak Grove looking to make a play here, but it is broken up by Holt's Evan Carlin. As we said, these two teams were laying some licks tonight. Who's telling me that football is not as physical as it used to be? They actually ruled out a fumble. And then Holt quarterback Calix Grisby finds Jaquarius Cockrell, and that is a touchdown. The first TD game of the game. Holt would go up 6-0 in this one, and they had the lead, and they're much better, but they come up short tonight. Oak Grove's a good team. They moved to 3-0 on the season. 37-12 the final, but again, Holt 2-1. They don't get to 3-0 for the first time since '89, but I tell you what, they are a proved football team. And this was a good game for quite a while until Oak Grove was able to put it away. Class 1A Region 5 opener, Sumiton Christian at Pickens County. Michael Williams' team, the Tornadoes, uncharacteristically, not maybe a 1A state championship contender as they've been in the past. Maybe rebuilding a little bit, but they came to play tonight, although Sumiton Christian's Caden Parrish finds Jonah Marshall there. But from there, it was all Pickens. Michael Billups around the right side, a big gainer, and then Billups is going to find Rosevian Guyton for the first touchdown of the night. And the Tornadoes not letting up. Billups gets it out to Willie Wyndham, and Willie Wyndham does the rest, avoiding tacklers and turning on the Jets for the touchdown. All Pickens County tonight. The Tornadoes open region play in style as they beat Sumiton Christian tonight, 50-14, the final. Class 5A Region 3, Sipsey Valley at home against Shelby County. The Bears coming out of that tunnel there with the blow-up balloon and ready to go. L.J. Cormier gets it to Trent Cole, who reverses to Jamon Jolly. What a play. 60 yards, a little shake and bake, and the Bears are up 7-0 at home. Shelby County here, though. Anthony Palmieri takes the handoff from Ryan Sipes. He's going to make a house call, 50 yards to make it 8-7 as the Wildcats went for 2. And with a minute left in the first half, still 8-7 Shelby County. Sipsey goes for it on 4th down, and this is not the way they drew it up. Shelby County led 8-7 at the half, and they go on to win a tough game tonight. Defensive game as we check out the final. Shelby County gets the win over the Bears, 15-7, the final score. Well, still to come this evening on Football Friday, another edition of Conyers Corner with legendary Alabama practice official Eddie Conyers. Plus, we'll have Andrew Bones recruiting tales. But up next, high school football highlights continue with more region openers, including Class 2A Region 5 between Lamar County and Greene County up in Vernon tonight. That's straight ahead when we return to Football Friday presented by Alabama Credit Union.
We are the Tuscaloosa Academy cheerleaders, and you're watching Football Friday on WVUA 23.
And we're back on WVUA 23's Football Friday. I'm Gary Harris. We got more region openers now. Let's go up to Vernon, 2A Region 5. Lamar County hosting the Greene County Tigers. And let's show you the action in this one. And Vernon, or Lamar County, I guess, technically, but we still call them Vernon a lot of the times. Getting ready for this one, and Noah Gottwald was really ready. He gets an 8-yard first down right there. And then it's Lamar County trying to get the run game going in the second quarter. Lamar County's Tiger McKinney picks up 5, and then it's B.A. Westbrook finding Joy Long for a 2-yard touchdown. There's a lot of joy right there. 2-point attempt, no good. But Lamar County with that kind of grinded out style, getting some results. Let's go to the scoreboard and show you the final in this one tonight from up in Vernon. Let's check it out, or at least go to the scoreboard. And we see that it's Greene County winning that game, 24-20. It was a close one. It was hard fought. And the Tigers get a road win tonight. And that's a big road win to open the region play. More 2A Region 5, Isabella at Sulligent. And the pregame coin toss, always a nice time as captains come out. And then it's Sulligent quarterback John Will Spruill picking up a big gain as he breaks a couple of tackles. That winds up being a 40-yard gain. And then it's Hagan Gann with a 5-yard run for a first down. And finally, you're going to see Sulligent running back Andrew Lowe cap off the drive as he dives into the end zone for the touchdown. Sulligent on top. Their fans are liking it. And if we check out the final, they got happier as the night went along because they get the win over Isabella this evening, 24-14, the final. Unbeaten's Corner and Wenonah tonight in 5A Region 5. Neil Brown drops back, doesn't have any time because here comes big man Jared Black, putting him on his back. Third quarter, corner quarterback Keaton Coffey fakes the handoff and then gets some room and gets a first down. Setting up a Yellow Jackets touchdown, Spencer Unruh punches it in. Corner goes on top, 13-7. This one goes down to the wire, but it's Corner tonight on the road, beating Wenonah. What a ball game right there. 21-20 was your final score. Back to Class 7A Region 3, Oak Mountain hosting Prattville. Prattville moving into Region 3 this year. Lions first possession, Gavin Rigdon goes up top to KJ Blue. And Prattville strikes for a 77-yard touchdown to go up 7-0. Here comes Oak Mountain. Will Odell finds Sean Ray. First down for the Eagles. 2 plays later, Odell rolls right, tucks it, and just pounds his way into the end zone. And we got ourselves a tie ball game 7-7. Second quarter still tied at 7. Blue on the handoff because why not? He can catch it, he can run it. That makes it 14-7 Prattville. And then Rigdon with a 78-yard touchdown pass to Brody Bowman. And that gives the Prattville Lions a 20-7 halftime lead. And as we check out the final score, Prattville goes on to win it tonight. That's a fun ball game. And a region victory for the Lions, 35-28 over the Eagles. Well, coming up next, our Football Friday Band of the Week, and also all the other games, as we're going to run down the complete Football Friday scoreboard. That's on the way. Please stay with us for more Football Friday on WVUA 23. Outstanding. The Thompson High School Marching Southern Sound, our jolly band of the week. And, boy, we love promoting these bands and featuring them each week here on Football Friday. And it's now time to check in on the rest of the scores from, or a lot of the area scores. We don't have them all, but we try to get as many as we can. Certainly all the West Alabama scores and some on in other parts of the state. So let's check in on our complete Football Friday scoreboard for you here and run them down. Northside goes to Montevallo and opens up region play in style. How about that? 48-14. Northside taking care of business on the road. No surprise here. Bibb County not happy after that heartbreaking loss at Gordo in overtime last week. They take it out on Tarrant. 53-6, the final score in that one. How about Hale County with a big road win at Wilcox Central? The Wildcats get it done tonight, 28-0. And Dora and Fayette County took it right down to the end, and tough loss for Fayette County at home as they fall tonight to Dora, 38-36, the final. It was Holy Spirit getting their first win. The Saints tonight on the road at R.C. Hatch. How about that? 34-8, the final. And Greensboro with a big road win at Dallas County, 22-15. It was Linden blanking Pickens Academy tonight by the final of 40-0 up in Carrollton. And Berry all over Marion County, 61-18, the final in that one. Hubbardville at South Lamar, all Hubbardville. The Lions taking down South Lamar, 41-14, the final. Coosa Valley Christian here in Tuscaloosa in 8-man football over the North River Christian Chargers. We talked about last week, North River playing a lot of really young kids, ninth graders and so forth. They lose tonight at home 62-14, but they're building for the future. It was Winfield tonight big at home over Midfield. Winfield, Midfield, Winfield, Midfield. Say that 3 times fast, right? Winfield 42, Midfield 12. It was South Choctaw County over Southern Academy tonight by the final of 48-6. South Choctaw Academy, I think that actually is. That's my mistake. And it was University Charter out of Livingston winning at Red Bay, 16-14. Hamilton tonight downs Cordova, 40-13, the final there. Meek at Hackleburg, and Hackleburg gets the win, 34-8. Lynn over Brilliant, 34-20, the final. Choctaw County over Francis Marion tonight, 14-6. Great job by our folks there in the newsroom getting all these scores. And you knew this was going to be a good ball game. In 7A Region 3, Hewitt-Trussville on the road gets past Vestavia tonight, 18-14, the final. It was Mountain Brook in Hueytown. You knew this was going to be a good game. Now, this is not a region game, but Mountain Brook wins over the Golden Gophers tonight in Hueytown. Spartans take that one, 23-21. Oxford over Shades Valley tonight. The Yellow Jackets down the Mounties, 45-21. It was Clay Chalkville blanking Pell City. Clay Chalkville has not missed a beat. Coaching change, but they are a juggernaut. They blank Nick Gentry's team. Nick Gentry coaching at Pell City, the former Alabama defensive lineman, 45-0. Helena over Chilton County tonight down in Clinton, 48-13. It was Chelsea over Pelham in a shootout right there, 36-33. J.B. Pennington, our final score tonight, wins at Glencoe over in Etowah County, 35-14 the final. Well, that's the complete Football Friday scoreboard, but we aren't done with high school football just yet. When we return, Bama Central's Joe Gaither will join me for our weekly high school football analysis, including an in-depth look at our game of the week between Hillcrest and Hoover. This one was all Bucks tonight, man, over the Patriots. We'll have it for you next when we return to Football Friday.
We are the Northridge cheerleaders, and you're watching Football Friday on WVUA 23.
And welcome back to Football Friday, presented by Alabama Credit Union. I'm Gary Harris, joined now by Joe Gaither from Bama Central, Sports Illustrated's Alabama website. He does a great job covering the Tide, but he also does a great job on Friday nights helping us out, going to our game of the week. And Joe, I really had high hopes for this game tonight. We knew Hillcrest was moving up, and we knew that they lost a lot. From those last three teams they had, could have easily won the 6A state championship every year. You know, Saraland and Clay Chalkwell, teams like that kept them from it.
Sure.
But still, when you move up to 7A Region 3 and you're maybe not quite as good as you were the year before, you can get exposed. That happened tonight, 35-6, although in the first half, Hillcrest had some opportunities to make a game out of this, and a couple of field goals, a block in the back on a long Kimbrough touchdown, kind of changed the complexion of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Hillcrest got exactly what they wanted. They started the game off, and they got a defensive stop, and they dug into it on offense. And Bryson Kimbrough, I believe, got himself a 67-yard touchdown run that was called back for a block in the back. They ended up having to punt, and then it was kind of back and forth. Hillcrest got into the red zone a couple of times, but they had to settle for Hudson Hall kicking two field goals where they could have got in for touchdowns, and those little momentum swings. It just was not enough up front for Hillcrest moving into 7A.
Hudson Hall's a really good kicker. But when you're down there, one of them was first and goal at the 2.
Yeah, 20 yards and 26 yards.
Yeah, and you don't get in. You see the highlights here playing behind us. You mentioned it up front. Over 4 quarters, because Hillcrest was in this game at halftime.
Yes.
And like you said, with a break here, they could have had the lead. But after not taking advantage of those opportunities, they just kind of got worn down in the second half.
Yeah, Hoover, they rolled out a bunch of running backs. Jordan Jacobs, Jonah Winston, Ja'Cory Hayes all had rushing touchdowns. And then quarterback Mac Beeson was really getting after it in the running game as well. And so I think they just kind of overwhelmed Hillcrest up front. They had skill position. It was just kind of depth and size up front that was the difference tonight.
All right, Hillcrest moves up to 7A Region 3, and tough opener tonight. And also working against Hillcrest, I think, was the fact that Hoover lost last week to Spain Park. First time they lost to Spain Park in a while. Their rival, they were ready to go tonight. I think to make a statement.
Oh, yeah, and it's been a really tumultuous start of the season for
obviously.
Hoover. And they came into the season thinking they had some pieces. So get a bit of their feet underneath them. And I think that Hillcrest was the unfortunate victim this evening.
Thoughts on a couple other games. Central, under Mario Pippin, of course, his buddy Christian Jones was on his staff until 2 weeks before the season. He takes the Bryant job. And they're good friends. But Central is showing, with this 3-0 start, they're, I think, a team you're going to have to deal with in Class 6A Region 4. They blew out Bryant tonight.
I think that they're one of the best, most well-coached teams in the area, and that's no disrespect to the other coaches in the area. But Mario Pippin has Central just really believing in themselves, and even when they were down big against County High in the first night, there was no sense of wavering on the sidelines. And so I'm really excited to see what the Falcons can do, and I'm kind of a little bit hopeful that they can end up on top in that region this year.
And for County High, they had that game won, you thought, against Central in the opener. That wound up getting away from them, and then they had to go to Viger last week, still trying to figure out why that game was scheduled. And then tonight they have to open up, of all teams, against Thompson at home in Class 7A Region 3. Tough night. Yeah,
it's just, a product of being in the toughest region in high school football in the state of Alabama. And really, County High has been through some different turnover as well and transitions as well. And so it's just a really tough region to have any sort of turnover.
And your thoughts on TA in Class 2A, Tuscaloosa Academy? They were in Academy football just a couple years ago, but they look like a powerhouse in 2A this year.
Well, I love Preston Lancaster. I mean, what a time to change into AHSAA when you have a young up-and-coming quarterback, and now he is an upperclassman. I think that he has a steady hand on that offense. I'm excited to see what they can do in 2A as well.
Yeah, he's not young now. He's a Mr. Football candidate.
Exactly.
I'll tell you that. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be back with our award-winning Outside the Huddle feature when Football Friday returns. And welcome back to WVUA 23's Football Friday, presented by Alabama Credit Union. I'm Gary Harris. It's time now for our award-winning Outside the Huddle feature presented by Premier Service Company. Tonight, Sutton Smith takes an inside look at the growing sport of girls high school flag football.
Making plays on the field for your school in front of family and friends is every athlete's dream.
And I was like, this is so exciting. This is what football feels like.
High school girls from Brookwood and Holt are experiencing that feeling for the first time this fall after their schools were chosen by the Atlanta Falcons to begin girls flag football programs.
I have track later in the year, and it was my senior year, and I thought, why not? I'm not doing anything else. And they called it over the intercom. I immediately went to the meeting and signed up.
Tia McGuffey's football love story grew much like anyone else's. Growing up close to the University of Alabama, while her father pulled for Michigan, only ignited that passion even more.
And me and my brother got so into it. Like, my brother was wearing a Michigan hat, Alabama jersey, Michigan pants, like Alabama socks. We looked absolutely horrible.
The look wasn't stylish, but it represented a bond McGuffey had to football. This version of football has distinct differences from the one she watched that day.
You don't always want the biggest, the strongest kids out there because it's a totally different game. It's a lot more finesse, it's a lot more skill-based, and you just have to adapt to that.
Flag and tackle football are played on the same field, but with a different set of rules. In flag football, offense and defense have 7 players rather than 11. There's less emphasis on offensive and defensive linemen due to the premium on speed.
So really the game plan has been about, exploiting matchups, finding open space in the field, and just a lot more skill.
There was an intense learning curve before they even stepped foot on the field.
If you cannot become competitive, you will never, ever have the chance to win. That's what I always preach to them. Compete, compete, compete. No matter what's going on, we never quit, and these girls never quit.
Holt had 9 players try out, and they all made the team. Brookwood had 16 more players try out. More players with different skill sets helped Bryant maximize his team's potential early on in the season.
Luckily, our girls were really dedicated in the summer and got their stuff down and figured things out so that we didn't have as much we had to adapt to once the season started.
Flag football's popularity and involvement has increased every year, with new teams added in high schools all over the United States.
Every single year, it's blossomed. You look and the teams that we're going up against now, just the level of competition, the level of work, the level of professionalism amongst all of this is just getting better and better.
Even though there were many differences between the two teams in their first season, win or lose, these girls will be remembered for being pioneers at their schools.
30, 40 years from now, these girls will say, well, they drive by and see the lights on, but hey, I was the first team.
Those little girls right now that 5, 10 years from now are going to be coming out to sign up for flag football because they saw how excited you were. They saw you out there playing and doing the things that they never would have imagined that they would do. Your legacy is something that's going to live forever because it's in those young girls.
When I was little, I remember watching girls play softball, and that made me want to play softball. And I remember watching girls go to prom and go to the mall, and I'd be like, I want to be just like them when I grow up. I want to be able to have that freedom. I want to be pretty like them. I want to go and I want to be just like them. It's so exciting to me that I get to be that girl for somebody else and somebody else's dreams or hopes one day.
That mindset plays to the human contract we all strive for, to leave it better than you found it.
Outstanding. Thank you, Sutton. That was from last fall, but the high school girls flag football is really growing all over the country. Well, coming up, Conyers Corner with the legendary Eddie Conyers, and Alex Booth will take us behind enemy lines for the scoop on the USF Bulls. That's straight ahead on WVUA 23's Football Friday.
Coach Bryant, you know, really loved and related to the underdog. Players that were not quite as big or as strong as others, but really loved the game of football, would give you 110%. And here again, 110% was not rhetoric. He really meant that. He seemed to intuitively know we can all do a little bit more than we think we can do. You could have maybe Johnny Musso or Dwight Stevens, somebody get hurt, and Coach Bryant, you know, okay, well, he'd be okay. But I remember this little walk-on, I don't remember his name, got hurt at practice one day. Coach Bryant came down out of his towel, which he very seldom did, and went over, and I never forget patting that boy on the head. That was just a poignant moment to me. He really related to well, he called them in-betweeners. They wasn't great here. They wasn't fast, they wasn't big, but they were in-betweeners. They'd give you that 110%.
And welcome back to Football Friday. To know Eddie Conyers is to love him. He's great. Well, it's time now to go behind enemy lines with ABC Action News sports anchor Kyle Berger from Tampa. Here's Football Friday's Alex Booth.
Alabama will host the South Florida Bulls on Saturday evening in a rematch of a game where the Tide topped the Bulls 17-3 last season in tough conditions. This year, Alabama will be the first true test that South Florida faces.
They purposely kept it very bland and very simple. They're kind of hiding what they want to do against Alabama this week. But basically, they ran a very bland offense. Only 23 passes in that game against Bethune-Cookman, which is the fewest amount since head coach Alex Golesh has been there.
This year's contest between the two schools comes in Tuscaloosa. WFTS sports anchor in Tampa, Kyle Berger, says that Alex Golesh and the Bulls are taking a new approach to preparation.
We're inside Bryant Denny Stadium, and at practice all week for the Bulls, they've been blasting Dixieland Delight. Like, so loud. Players are saying it's so annoying, but Coach Golesh says you have to deal with it because this is going to be the biggest crowd USF football has ever played in front of. Over 100,000 people will be at Bryant Denny Stadium. They've been pumping in crowd noise all week.
For South Florida, if they want to pull off a massive upset on Saturday, their defense will have to be much better.
Last year, their defense was putrid. They were ranked 115th last year, giving up over 430 yards per game. And if you carry that over to this season, to that stadium, it's going to be nasty. So they've improved on that in game one against Bethune-Cookman. I know it was only Bethune-Cookman, but they only gave up 170 yards to Bethune-Cookman and only about 40-some yards rushing.
For the Bulls, quarterback Byron Brown will need to be the star of the show Saturday in order to come away with a victory.
Try to nick away here in the second half, try to keep the thing close, and it's going to be a lot of Byron Brown. I mean, in the past, Bama's had trouble years ago slowing down that dual-threat quarterback.
Andrew Bone's recruiting tales and a one-on-one interview with Alabama linebacker Jahad Campbell. Those stories when we return to Football Friday. Let's check in now with On3's Andrew Bone for this week's recruiting tales and the story of linebacker Reuben Foster, who went back and forth during the recruiting process between Alabama and Auburn. In fact, he even got an Auburn tattoo before signing with the Crimson Tide.
So Reuben grew up an Alabama fan. He grew up, I believe, outside of Leeds, Alabama, ends up moving to Troup County in LaGrange, Georgia for his sophomore year. He goes over there, he's over there for a couple years, commits to Alabama pretty early, and was a solid commitment, considered, loved Alabama, that's where he wanted to go. And then he started taking some visits. He ends up his family ends up moving to Auburn. I don't think that there was an expectation that Reuben's about to flip to Auburn, but all of a sudden it happened. He also put out a picture that showed a Auburn emblem on his forearm. So, most of the time when you see that, those kids aren't going to flip. Yeah, that was a season where Gene Chizik ends up getting fired at the end of the season. That opened up the door for Alabama. And we always tell people, let the season kind of get finished before you really worry about recruiting, because there's so many things that can change, that can happen. All of a sudden, he decides to decommit from Auburn, but he didn't shut it down. He kept things open, took an official visit to Alabama. but he took his official visit to Alabama first. Then he took his official visit over to Auburn. He ends up going somewhere else randomly, like New Mexico State, somewhere just to kind of get out of town, kind of clear his head. And on Saturday, word started to leak out. There was a lot of kids in Tuscaloosa that weekend. Word starts to leak that he's made his way to Tuscaloosa, that he has left his Auburn official visit, found his way to Tuscaloosa, and 3 days later, he had announced for Alabama. At the end of the day, Alabama was able to come out on top, and he had a remarkable career.
What a story. Reuben was a ferocious tackler, and so is Jahad Campbell, current Alabama linebacker, who went one-on-one this week with Tide TV's Christopher England.
I'm Chris England with Tide TV, and I'm joined by Jahad Campbell, Alabama linebacker. Fresh off the practice field, Jahad, it's game week. What's the tempo out there with practice this week?
It's definitely, just fast pace. South Florida has a great tempo offense. We're a tempo defense, so that's the goal for this week. Is to stop them with that tempo.
You had a big win, 63-0 over Western Kentucky in the season opener. Just kind of talk about that game in Bryant, Denny. How good was it to get back out there in the stadium in front of the fans and just kind of quit hitting your teammate but get to hit someone else?
It felt pretty good. I was waiting. I was trying to wait patiently, to see another jersey, but it definitely felt good, just flying around with all the guys and making plays and creating takeaways. And I was really excited to watch our offense too, how J-Mill, he had the ball flying around and getting it to them guys. And those running backs, they were doing a great job, and the offensive linemen were doing a great job up front too. So
the offense was explosive, had some big plays, but the defense, pretty great too, shut out Western Kentucky. Just kind of talk about that. You guys were flying all over the field, had a couple of turnovers. Just kind of talk about that defensive performance.
I think, our whole goal and objective is to keep striving for greatness. We never want to be complacent, even though Keon Sapp, he got 2 picks. We created more takeaways. Quandarius Robertson, he had a sack. But I think our main objective is, to just keep creating opportunities for those takeaways, and that's how we're just going to go about it on the defense.
Let's talk about your performance. You tied for the team lead with 9 tackles, had a tackle for loss. Just kind of talk about your game.
I think I played well. I think my performance definitely came from, just my teammates and, everybody
Some
doing
of
their
those
jobs.
local high school football games rather wet this evening. That pesky light rain in the area. Fortunately, no lightning delays. This was non-convective rainfall, but it is getting out of here, and I do expect dry weather to make a return for the weekend. So for some Alabama football, Auburn football, both home games this weekend, dry weather will begin to take over, so no weather hazards expected. Let's take a look at that forecast. Now, Alabama taking on South Florida Saturday, 6 p.m. kickoff here at Bryant-Denny Stadium. 81 for that game. By the fourth quarter at 71 will be a nice evening. Humidity levels quite low as dry air moves in. And Auburn also home game taking on California. That's a 2:30 kickoff, 84. There may be a brief shower earlier in the day, but understand the risk of rain is pretty low for that game. By the fourth quarter, looking at temperatures in the upper 70s. And here's the Mississippi State Bulldog game taking on Arizona State over in Tempe, Arizona. We got 99 to that 9:30 kickoff. Of course, that's 9:30 our time. It's going to be awfully high for that ball game. Temperatures by the fourth quarter at around 90 degrees. That is your forecast update.
Thank you, Richard. That's going to do it for Football Friday. And tomorrow night at 10 o'clock, all the Alabama football coverage against South Florida, plus Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium dedication. We'll see you tomorrow night at 10. Have a great weekend.